Hey everyone, welcome back. So today let's see another important benefit of cloud computing, which is cost, right? Cloud is cost efficient. Let's look at it with an example so that it is pretty practical on why cloud is cost efficient, right? So you decide to start a business. Probably you want to stream cricket videos, for example, to your local channels. So what is a local channel is, right? I'm not sure if it is there in entire countries, but in my country, in my city, there are channels which are streamed only in a particular region. It is not a national channel. So people who have some programs that are very closely related to that region, they buy a channel that is streamed only in that channel. For example, you want to stream something like that, it doesn't have to be a local channel, you can start a national channel as well. For example, you have a small business where you want to stream data, so you went to BCCI, the board of Cricket Council India, and then you got permission to stream that in your local region, right? Now what you need is a big computer. Why you need a big computer? Because you are having a lot of videos and you want to stream without buffering to a lot of users. So you go to a computer provider, say Lenovo or HP probably, or Dell, and you ask for, okay, hey, I want a big computer so that I can stream it to a lot of users. So they will probably say that if you want to stream videos to a lot of users, you need a lot of processing power and memory. So what I mean by a big computer is nothing but a CPU, which is central processing unit, which basically does the actual work. It does the processing of your videos and renders it on the screen, and those things basically CPU does. And then we have a RAM, right? So RAM is a storage which is only for CPU. So whatever it is processing, for storing it so that it can process it fast, it uses the RAM. So this is what everyone looks for, right? If we go to buy a phone or a laptop, what we look for it, what is the processor and how much is the RAM. If it is 8 GB, we know that it is going to work fast. If it is 16 GB, we know that it is going to be amazingly fast. Why is that? CPU has its own memory, so that if it is large, then it can process everything fast, because whatever it needs, it can store it in the RAM itself instead of going to the permanent storage. Next comes the storage. So this is where you can store the permanent things like the photos or videos or whichever you want to store it in the computer or the mobile. So whatever stored in the RAM, when you reboot the system, it goes off because it is only used for processing by CPU. So whatever you store it in storage, it will remain. So when you start your business, you might have like few users. So if you go and buy, say, 16 cores of CPU and maybe 32 GB of RAM and maybe 500 GB of storage. Probably at the start, maybe when you are starting to have one user, two user, three users subscribe to your streaming service, it might be a little bit costly, right? So Lenovo will say, okay, eventually you will have 100 users or 1000 users. So you might have to buy a big machine, obviously. But now when you start, it will be too much of an investment. So what happens with cloud is that we know that cloud has a data center, right? And within data center, there are a lot of computers. So when you go and ask a cloud provider, for example, Google Cloud Platform or Amazon Web Services, they won't ask you to buy a big computer because you will have 100 users maybe after 5 months, right? Now they'll ask you what is your requirement now. You say maybe 4 GB RAM and maybe 2 cores of CPU and a few storage to store the videos, right? Then they will just say, okay, take a part of our computer. They might have hundreds of computers which are very big, but they won't ask you to take one whole computer. They can give a part of it. So you can start using it, and when your user base goes, when you go ahead, they'll give you another portion of another computer or the same computer wherever they have location, right? So this concept of how they are able to split it and give it to you and then make it look like you are having your own computer. It is one whole computer for you sitting in your service, but for them this part might come from here, this part might come from here. Like for example, not exactly how it happens. So this part of making it look like you are having your own physical machine, but at the end you are just sharing resources of a big another physical machine, is usually called as virtualization. So here the term virtual means is something which is not physically existing, but a software makes it look like it is physically existing. Here you are not having your one big computer. Basically you are sharing a part of a big computer or a set of computers, but a software which is called as a hypervisor. Is making it look like, okay, you are having your own computer, but behind the scenes you are using shared resources of one Google's big computer or one Amazon's big computer or one Microsoft's big computer. Microsoft's cloud platform is called Azure. There are other few providers as well, I think, but these guys are the big guys, as you can see the company names obviously. Yeah, so this concept of utilizing the servers to multiple use cases or multiple users, but the ability they can provide via hypervisor to make it look like it is a separate machine and dividing everything. So they each machine has its own security, own file storage, own RAM and everything, but behind the scenes it is sharing things of a big processing machine. So this ability is what gives the efficiency of cost capability to the cloud, because if you go to Lenovo you have to purchase the entire machine. Here they can utilize the bits and pieces of each of the server. So for them a particular computer is fully utilized, and for you only need what you will be using. So tomorrow you go and give it back, they'll reduce the cost, and tomorrow when you go and purchase more, they'll give you a bigger bill for that, right? So they are also able to utilize every part of their big machine, and you are able to only pay for whatever you are using. So this is one of the big advantages, and this is the concept on top of which cloud is built, which makes it cost efficient, one of the reasons. And obviously the software which makes virtualization processor possible is called as a hypervisor. Yeah, let's meet in another video. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.